Hey guys, in this video, I want to tell you about the limits. Um, it's kind of critical because if you do a lot of email outreach, at some point, I don't know how many emails you send, but I'm sure if you send a lot, right, at some point your email provider will say, "Hey, you exceeded your quota, right? You sent too much." So, for example, if you use G Suite, Gmail is a free one. G Suite is the business one that you pay for. Your daily email send limit per account basically is 2,000 per day, right? So in a month, that's 60,000 emails, right? Now, if you have a trial account is considered anything, the free trial that they give you during the first 14 days or something like that. Or if your billing threshold has not hit 3 months yet, so that's considered a trial account. So if you have a trial account, your send limit during that period is only 500. By the way, there's a workaround. If you join G Suite and want to go automatically to 2,000 send limit, you basically prepay 3 months up front. A little trick I learned through the chat rep. That's through the browser, right? Like literally, if you just open your browser and then just start sending emails, the daily limit is 2,000. Now, if you go through the SMTP, the SMTP is basically, if you guys are aware, is like basically if you remember the old days of internet, like you had like a Firefox, Mozilla, what was it called, Thunderbird or Outlook or something like that. It asks you like, where's your server, and then you type in the SMTP. If you go through the SMTP, it's 500. It's not 100. This is the number of recipients per message, but it's something like 500. So if you go through SMTP, it's 500. And if you have a corporate email, you have to ask your IT person, what is my daily send limit? But anyway, you have to sort of keep track of your. You shouldn't exceed your limit on a frequent basis. The reason being that if you keep abusing that limit, at some point, like G Suite, for example, right? I don't know about your corporate, that's company policy, but G Suite, Outlook, if you keep abusing that send limit, at some point they might just get pissed off and they just shut you out, right? And when they shut you out, it's not like you can download data or anything. They just close your account and bye bye, right? No importing, exporting, nothing. So you want to be cognizant of the send limit. Now, so remember it's 2,000, right? If you go through the browser. So luckily, Get Sales Fox can go through the SMTP or through the browser. Now you have 2,000. So if you come over to Get Sales Fox, it asks you what is your daily send limit. If it's 2,000 here, does that mean you should put 2,000 here? Well, no. Here's why. So suppose you're doing your outreach, right? And if you're doing outreach, most likely you're going to be doing a sequence because the chances are people are not going to respond to your first email on the first email, right? I mean, you have to sort of follow up. So suppose you have a sequence like this, okay? Suppose you have a sequence of 5 items, right? So you send 5 emails spread apart 2 days each, okay? So day 1, you send your opener. Day 2, you send the follow-up. Day 4, day 6, day 8, you send follow-up, 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 right? So that means one lead, you're sending 5, you're using up 5 send credits, right? So here's what it looks like. So suppose you send batches of 325. Let's just make it simple. Let's say you use 300. You send 300 emails per day. Let's say Get Sales Fox sends 300 emails per day, okay? So here's what it looks like. This is one sequence, right? Because you're sending 5 items. You're sending 5 things, right? 5 sequences. So it looks like day 1, day 3, day 5, day 7, day 9. So that's what it sends, right? And then the second sequence gets sent the next day, right? So it's staggered. Right? So that's why it looks like this. That's why it has this sort of diagonal, sort of a cascade effect, right? So if you think about this, so they get staggered, right? So on day 10, the first batch is sending a bunch of different things, sending its own set, second sequence sending its own thing, third, fourth, fifth. They're sending its own sequence, but staggered, right? So on day 10, because you're sending 5 things, right? You're sending 5 items. On day 10, you're sending 1,500 emails. Okay, so suppose you bump this number up to like 400, right? So now what happens is if you're sending 400 emails, sequence of 5 things spaced out 2 days each, at day 10, you're sending out 2,000 emails, right? The reason why you don't want to have this at 2,000 is because if you tell Get Sales Fox to use 2,000 credits, and it will use 2,000 credits, and you don't want that because at some point, you have to go to your inbox and you have to start, you know, responding to your leads, right? I mean, otherwise your leads will go cold, right? So you don't want to put 2,000 here. You want to put like 1,500, right? I don't know what your response rate is. If you have a super high response rate, obviously maybe 1,000. So if your limit is 2,000, you say 1,000. That means, hey, use half for automation. Give me 1,000, i.e., half for me, right? So you're not. So if you say 2,000, it will use up 2,000. So please don't use 2,000 here if you're using G Suite. Now, if you're using a third party provider like SendGrid, if you guys don't know what SendGrid is, basically you're paying somebody else to use their SMTP provider. You can send like, I don't know, like 100,000 emails. Yeah, 100,000 emails for like $450. But I don't know what kind of market you're in, but if you're sending that many emails and not being considered a spammer, I mean, I don't know. I guess different people have different cases, but I would think that most people, most businesses, most sales reps, 2,000 is plenty. I mean, I don't know what you sell, but I'm just saying I think 2,000 will be super efficient for most people. But anyway, if you do need to use SendGrid, you can just make sure you sign up the account and then you just go to the email settings, and on the SMTP, you just enter in your SendGrid information here, right? Otherwise, just use get Salesforce, browser sending. That'd be plenty for most people. So anyway, that's it for this email. I just want to make sure that limit thing is sort of clear. Don't put your maximum limit here. Don't put 2,000 here. Do not. Otherwise, your inbox, you won't be able to respond to your leads. Okay. Remember this. I will put a link to the spreadsheet so you can calculate for yourself how many you should be sending. Like, what is your maximum threshold? But a general rule of thumb is like, I would set this limit to 60 to 80% of its full capacity, right? So 90% if you have a low response rate, but sometimes you're gonna do follow-ups and do multiple follow-ups. So start low. I would start at like 60%. So maybe I would do 1,200 or maybe 1,400 or something like that. Just don't use 2,000. Okay, just do not. If you tell GetSalesFox to use all of it, it will use all of it. So luckily, when you do hit a threshold and you get an email from your SMTP, from G Suite or whoever your SMTP people are, it says, hey, you exceeded your limit. Luckily, GetSalesFox has a smart auto detection for it. But you should always use this anyway, because the technology can always break, right? Of course, if it does break, make sure that you let us know. But anyway, just letting you know that you should always keep this cognizant. It's not just keeping your email reputation clean and stuff like that. You do need to keep this in mind, because if you lose your account, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. So make sure you know this. And I'll put a link to all this limit stuff in the comment section, so you are fully aware of what the issues are, okay? So anyway, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to leave it in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.